Yeah, maybe somebody here know me and somebody doesn't know me. It is maybe I can see that there are some people here. They have already taken a course before with me, and maybe others they haven't so far. And for people are going to watch this video, let me introduce myself for you all. My name is Ismail. I have PhD in computer science from University in Lille 1, France. I have master in my master MBA was in computer engineering. My master was in Germany in Duisburg-Essen University. So I can speak different languages, and this affect my accent. So I'm very interested to teach you this course. My research interest is about cloud hosting, data warehousing and data mining. For sure, I have to work with different programming languages during my industrial experience. So today we will give an introduction what we expect from this course. So again, it is an online course, asynchronous. So people who are going later to watch this video should know that I can't collect the attendance like other courses because it is, as I said, asynchronous online courses. However, I highly recommend it. People who has time to join the live session, go ahead and do it. I can't enforce anyone to be here. However, based on my experience, being with a live session, if you have time, you will benefit so much. You can have direct questions, and we are going to have. We also are going to have some practice, classwork practice here. So this will add bonus to the assignments. Again, we are talking about asynchronous, so it is an optional one. However, it is highly recommended, as I said. So, concerning the prerequisite this course, yes, there is a prerequisite. Maybe I didn't mention here, there is a prerequisite. You have to at least finish computer Comp 152 or Comp 150. So the prerequisites are important because we expect that you have some level of programming, and sorry, just give it me. I'm sorry. Why is this? Let's go to here. That's what I want to show you here. I share with you here the yes. I have already shared with you the syllabus here in the blackboard. I encourage you to go ahead to double check it. I'm sorry, this is, yes. So, and here I add all concerning here, the office hour, we'll talk about it here. And here I add the evaluation one. So just here, I want to share with you the syllabus here, just for you to be well aware about different, I will not say restriction, but different how we're going to manage our course. So we will have 30% assignment, 40% project, and the final will be 30. So 30% assignments, so minimum we'll have 3 assignments. However, the project will be group work. I will try maybe after that 2 weeks from now to distribute you to different groups just to start talking with each other. However, we will not go ahead and discuss the project before the middle of the term, in order to have some at least some information or some knowledge that you can use it to start thinking about your project. So it will be too early to start talking about the project now. However, concerning group work, I know that group work means that somebody will work, somebody will not work. This is why I will ask you to make a presentation. It doesn't mean it can be a live presentation with me, it can be an offline presentation. During presentation, I can see who is involved, who not. And as I did in the other courses, I will give a grade for the project presentation, because it's very important you at this level to know how to present what you have already learned in any course. The teaching philosophy here is, maybe people who are here and they have already taken a course before me, is interactive one. So I don't expect that there's somebody here, that, okay, just listen to me and then if you have question, you keep it till the end. No. People who is going to participate in the live session, again, if you have time, I highly encourage this. Go ahead again and ask me and interrupt me whenever you feel that you got lost, or if you have a question you want to ask me about it. So the lectures are more enough. This is why I said there is no special textbooks. I will ask you to do it. However, I will always mention different references at the beginning of the lecture when I will upload the lecture, so you can refer to these references for further information. Okay. When I open now the syllabus of the course, you can see that there is office hours being mentioned there. The office hour, I have dropped in office hour, even though it is online courses. People who would like to have a physical meeting, I will be in my Chilliwack office. If not, there is an online virtual office. Again, if you want to have a one-to-one meeting, so just drop me an email to book you a time within this virtual office hour timetable that here mentioned. So it will be Thursday and Friday. So Thursday will be from 9:30 till 11, and Friday will be afternoon in this case, so 3:30 till 5:30. So just in order to manage it well, go ahead and drop me an email before you are going to join the live session. It's very important to do this because sometimes we will have different students from different classes. So it's better that you be aware that you will go ahead in a slot where you can take your time and ask whatever you want without many disturbance from the other. I will use Zoom for this. So the Zoom link, in order not to be confused between here and Microsoft Teams, the Zoom link also I publish in the Blackboard. So you can double check in the Blackboard in this case. People who, hi. So this is nice. Murphy will be always asked. He will ask us many questions. So we have to answer him, or I will be an angry one, and then we'll let's keep angry outside and be always brainy during the live sessions. So brainy is I want to ask us today. So why do you take this course? Some people, because they said, okay, it is mandatory course in the department, we need to take it. Because many people take it, just random choices, expecting good grade. The best one, I'm interested. I know that, okay, this is my course plan, and then I have my program plan, and then I have to take it to finish. You can do it. But also, why not to be also interested in it? Because if you will be interested, you will go ahead and practice more, especially if it is advanced comparing to other programming languages that we have already taken so far. So I will ask this question for people here. I don't know if they have answer out of this, I like to have it, or they have answers, be honest, don't worry about it. So I will start with you, Kirsten. What do you expect from this course? Why do you take this course?
Why do I take it?
Yeah.
Well, I've always been like, even since
honest.
grade 6, I've always been like kind of curious about like computers and how things work. So
Yes.
obviously it is mandatory for like, because I'm trying to transfer to a different university next year, and it's mandatory,
Yes.
but also I really like this type of stuff. I guess it's my
So-
passion, you know.
Okay, so you feel that you have interest in programming, and since it's
Yes.
advanced one, so this will let you be more excited to go with it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's very future proof too.
So if I will going to make a ranking for this, so it is a mandatory need in your program, and then there is some interest and excitation
Yeah.
because you have this passion. So
Yeah. I think even if it wasn't mandatory, I'd still take it, you know. 'Cause I think it's really cool.
Okay. So because you have passion about coding and you feel that there is an advanced course, you should take it.
Yes, exactly.
And do you expect that you will go beyond the lecture notes and then you are going to practice different exercises, or you will
Yeah,
stop?
probably. I mean, if I have the time to do it, because I have a pretty heavy course load this semester, but I'll try my best, you know. Practice makes perfect, so.
I see.
Yes.
I will be with you to do this. I will help you in this.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Viraj, since you have a mic now, you can talk. Why do you take this course?
Oh, I take this course because I'm interested, and I took the Com 152 with you, and
Yeah.
it was a basic programming course. So
Yes.
I had a very fun in that course, and I learned lots of new things. So I decided to learn advanced programming like object-oriented programming. So I did this course.
Okay. So I have the same question for Bubble Preet. Bubble. I'm saying your name correct?
Yeah.
So Bubble Preet.
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah, we can hear you. If you can speak a little bit loud, it will be perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. First of all, it's mandatory.
Yeah.
And last semester I had Com 50, so I had a little bit of interest in this, so that's why I take
Okay.
this course.
So
Yeah.
what do you think? What do you think there would be a difference between this and Comp 50?
What?
What will be the difference between this course and Comp 50 in this case?
I think the programming, because in Com 50 I just learned about Python. And
Okay.
It is, yeah, but in those I think I learned more because it's advanced. So I think it's different.
Yeah, but when we talk about Python, it is a programming language. To mean that
Yeah.
you believe you will go more advanced here?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, no worry.
Okay,
Diego,
thank you.
thank you. Diego, are you here? Diego, are you here? Can you hear us if you have a mic? Okay, I will go somebody else. Harmandeep, are you here?
Yeah,
You have been with me yesterday, yeah?
yesterday? No.
Okay, because the same name.
Oh,
Maybe somebody else.
yeah. So the reason is both interest and as well mandatory.
Okay, so mandatory, I can understand why it is interest, why it is interested in, why you are interested in it, why it is interesting course for you,
I have an
or why you do
interest
expect it
in
to be
like
interesting.
the programming languages and in computing.
Okay, so but maybe it will be a tough course, not be interesting one.
So there
So
is
why do you expect
I
it to
know
be interesting one?
there is a scope in the future. So
Okay, there's a scope in the future.
yeah.
So why there is a scope in the future? Go.
Like, I will do something like in
Okay.
computing.
Okay, thank you so much. I will take more one before I will continue. Alex. Alex, are you here?
Hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. How are you today, Alex?
Doing good. So reason why I'm taking this course is also it's mandatory, but I want to learn programming. I think it's gonna be different level than the Comp 155 and I mean
Yeah.
150 and the other ones.
Okay.
So this way.
Perfect. Yes, thank you so much for your comments. Again, I know that it is a mandatory. Maybe some students will expect that, okay, it's a mandatory one, I have to finish it, whatever, because I have a program, I need to finish it. I need to finish my program. So even though it is a mandatory, you have to deal with it with interesting course and expect to learn from this. Why expect to learn? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I would like to speak something. So
Yeah, sure.
COM 155 because of like it is the next step to COM 150. I mean, in that we learned about how a program works, and probably in this course we're going to learn about the like object-oriented programming. I mean, how oriented
Yes.
programming languages.
Yes, I have a question for
That's
you.
why I took this course.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I have a question for you. When you said object-oriented, does this mean for you something?
Yeah, that is what I want to learn in this course. What is the meaning of object-oriented programming?
So, do you have a knowledge about it?
No, not really.
No worry, we will talk about it later during the course. I will not open discussion about it, but we will open discussion during this lecture later about it. Okay, so now I I don't like about disaster, but we have to talk about it, something about it. You should know that sometimes I will not say don't have enough knowledge, but sometimes you should be aware when you try to make a coding. Because having a bad software or a bad program, sometimes you run this program in a correct way and you can find the problem, but later you can find the problem during the running this program. Sorry, you can compile it, but you can see the problem, but later you can see the problem. And this is famous software disaster happened here in the history. I will start and see that because about silly coding issues, this happened. Let's talk about what happened, for example, when we talk Ariane 5 spacecraft launch system. I don't know if anyone here know about this or read about this. This was about European Space Agency. They have a program to have this aircraft space so they have this program was started in 1984 till 1995. There was 10 European countries working with this. And after working for this aerospace plane crashed. This is, by the way, this is our real images. This crash after 37 seconds. So after 37 seconds of flight, 10 years, $7 billion turned to dust. Do you know why? Because before they go to the Ariane 5, there was the Ariane 4. And people who consider working with Ariane 4 doesn't do it in a flexible way. And these people go ahead and use the same code. So what happened that there was a converting float point number to integer one, which means that in the old code, there was some variable is being used, and these variable have a special type like the integer one. And then while this software was running, there is a value of what were passed not having the same type as a variable being used. What happened in this case? It's crashed. a question will come now, why I'm saying this? Because using structured programming or procedural programming, what we have already learned before, will not give us the space to go and consider all the requirement in a very systematic way, especially when we talk about dealing with a project as object and classes. We talk about later object classes, and having many restrictions about attribute modification and attribute usage and accessing. So this is one of the disasters that happened here in the history. And if you see, it was just a silly reason because this converting cannot be, it was incorrect. They reuse old code without considering updating the type of the variable. This is another one, it's happened in UK, I think so, yeah. They want to create a system, automated package system. And these people here, after they designed the system using different software for this, so what happens, start showing the baggage also. And the main problem was the software part with this system, not with the hardware part. So here, this is another system about massive overdose of radiation. And there were some people there lost their life about this. Because killing 4 and leaving 2 others was a lifelong injury because of this system. And the problem was with also a bug in the software itself. So we should be aware when dealing with coding or software later when you go to the industry after you graduated, that you should be very accurate and in many things when you have to do with coding. Starting from what is the software development model you are going to use, and what is the software platform you are going to use that will fit to the business requirement of the project you are dealing with in this case. So now there is another one. So how we can reach, or let's say, before how we said how we can reach this good equality that Brain is asking, what we mean by quality of a good software. So I take two say by two well-known people, Donald Knuth and Bill Gates. The first said, computers are good out for following instruction, but bad at reading your mind. So there, if you can read here, before we go to the second one, if you can read now at the beginning, what he said, computers are good out of following instruction, but bad at reading your mind. Can anyone can give me interruption about what he means by this word? We are talking about coding here. So what this man wants to say?
Sure, I can say something if you want.
Yes, go ahead, sure.
Okay. Well, when you're coding, the compiler doesn't. It's just following instructions, right? It's not. It doesn't know what you're trying to accomplish.
Okay.
So if you type in something that technically isn't wrong, like there is no like syntax error, it'll be able to follow it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to accomplish what you are intending to accomplish. That makes sense.
Yeah, as again, it's not because compilation cares on. This person want to say that sometimes using coding as it is, that writing just line of codes, it doesn't really help you to modelize the problem that you are searching for a solution for. Because we as a programmer, we write program to solve a special problem, yeah?
Yeah.
So if you go just try writing set of lines, like so far you now in structured programming, and so you can start writing, go ahead and start writing variables and then go functions line by line, then your compiler go line by line. But this is writing only lines of instruction. It's not like our human being, how it's think. Let me somehow go ahead deeply in this. So if I go outside my home today and see there is an accident happen, at the beginning I said, okay, who's the two partners for this accident? So there is a car and another car. So we have two objects.
Yeah.
And then what is the description for this two objects? This is car of this model. This is Dodge. This is BMW. And this has this parameter and this has this two parameter. And this has to drive in this speed, using this speed, and this drive using this speed. Because the driver for this car, extend the speed limit in a place it doesn't have to drive like this. This happened. So my mind has to go ahead and see the problem at different objects having different parameters. And then because one of them go ahead and practice or make a procedure or make a method which is driving with an attribute out of the limit, this happened. So it will not see it as instruction 1 happened, instruction 2, 3 happened. So this instruction should be done by an entity, like the object. Do you agree in this?
Yeah.
So this is what he needs, what wanted this person to say, that writing set of instruction without having such kind of hierarchy that relates this instruction to a special entity, we name it later a class and objects, will not help us to have a code or a program that is more oriented to our mind. Now I want to tell you, all of you and people who is going to it's very important what I want to say now about what we name it semantic gap. By the way, and this is also in machine learning, which means that semantic gap means that what we as a human being can see is not what the machine can see. And the more we can diminish this gap, the more we can get a better and smart and artificial intelligent result, which means that the more intelligent result we can say. So in general, so we have to go with the machines and the computer to think like a human being and deal with different stuff like human beings, because we believe the powerful processing unit in this world is a human being mind. So far, most of the research that we are using a very small portion of our processing power on our mind. So this person, we said, okay, this is good, but they are following instruction, but are not training our mind. So we should go ahead and try to modelize our code in a way that I can see this like this, to be more oriented to real life thinking how we deal with this. We go now to Bill Gates, what he has to say. This what I'm not 100% sure if Bill Gates is, but based on different references I saw online, maybe they have to take it from his book. I can see that this say is assigned to him. Whatever who said this, Bill Gates or somebody else, let's go ahead and talk more about this. Measuring programming progress by line of code is like measuring aircraft building progress by weight. He's talking more now about what we are talking about. What is the quality of a program? How we can say this program is a very nice program, it's a good one or a bad one. So he's talking about assessment of a program. The assessment of program is not by number of lines. I agree also. So does it mean that if I have two programs, one program have 100 lines and another program have 10 lines, and they are doing the same output, I will not go said, okay, having huge number of lines is better. No. Like aircraft, you need an aircraft to have a more capacity. So, but if you increase the capacity and also increase the weight in the same portion, then it will not easy to have different machines and motors to let this aircraft go up. So in this case, it's not the aircraft building. I can see it, how I have more capacity, how I can have more usable for this, how I have to be more efficient by having a lighter weight. The same, by the way, for the code. that you don't have to write a huge number of lines. And this is a very important point. We are going to start with it. So for us, a good program is how I can reuse the code. So anyone, if we go to the quality of this program, I said, okay, usability, easy to learn and use, which means that anyone can go ahead and easy to learn and use. Efficiency. I don't have to waste the resources of the CPU. For example, if you go, some people, when you go to write a program or code, they will use containers that they allocate a huge space in the memory, even though they will not use the whole space. Dependability, which means that reliable, secure, safe, maintainability. And this is two part, one of the most important part in object-oriented, and one of the most important part talk about the difference between object-oriented programming and structured programming, or non-structured, or procedural, or functional. So far, you are more well aware about structured programming, which means that you have a set of instruction, you have different functions. So now, if I don't go to the concept of object and a class, which means that having a set, I will not talk about, maybe in 4 or 5 slides, I'll talk about what I mean by a class and object. But so far, now I want you to learn that object-oriented programming will, each part of a code will give a label, put it in a package, and another part of a code put in a package, and a part of a code put in a package. So if I go, like, for example, I have a huge number of books at my home. So rather than throwing here in the room, or having 3 different shelves, and I put the books that talk about the same subject in the same shelves. So now it is when I later want to search for a book, I can pick it directly. The same here. So I put all my code as a one line, different lines in the same file, as we do in the structured programming or unstructured programming. So in this case, when I go to find later to make an update or to search for a bug, if there is a bug, it will not be easy. However, having these different packages, then later we will name it a class. It will be helpful in this case. So object-oriented programming can help us to go ahead to have a maintainable code in this case. Reusability, and this is the most important one. Reusability of the code. So when I talked about functions, people who has already, I taught them 152. I said, okay, why you need to have a function or a method in here. And I also, at that time, I push you, motivate you, go ahead and create a function, even though you are not asked to create a function that do the special procedure. Why I said this? I told you at that time that if, for example, you have a function that some 2 numbers, then the same function, if you want to, in another place, to have 2, 3 numbers and you want to make a summation for them, so you can use the same code, just call the function. You don't have to declare it again and try the same number of instruction. But now imagine that I have set of attributes and set of functions that I can put them in the same package, I name it a class. And later in my huge software, I can use these attributes and these functions in different places. I'm not talking about one function only, about set of function, set of attributes. This is what object-oriented programming will help me in this. Is it clear this? If you have any question, go ahead and tell me about it now, about the reusability of the code and object-oriented. You will understand this more. But this is very important, and later we'll talk about, when we talk about the features about it, the reusability of the code. So now let's start with OOP history. This guy is the godfather of OOP. So he is named Alan Kay. the first introduction of this programs was in lately 1960s in the MIT AI lab, and then the first time this go to the first appearance to have a real project in Smalltalk programming language. It was done by Alan Kay at Xerox. So he started working with this object-oriented programming as a new programming language style that later many high-level programming language start use this style, as happened with later C++ and C# and Java in this case. So far, when we talked about the quality of a good software, we said that reusability, maintainability, and this is what object-oriented programming code can help us. And we talk about efficiency, so it is fast and efficient comparing to structured and unstructured one. Very powerful programming compared to the structured one. Programmer-friendly abstraction for easy and rapid application development. We will talk more about abstraction when we talk about abstraction, which means that create something abstract without very specific attributes, and later you have the flexibility to change it. We will talk about it during this course. Yes, object and the classes reduce complexity of the code. Because I said, the example I give to you, that you have a box thrown everywhere in the room. So I go and put them in 3 different shelves, and I group the books that talk about the same concept, about the same subject in them. So later I organize my book in a better way. When I go to search for something, I can go ahead and do it. So having such kind of concepts, and then if there's a set of attributes and set of functions, I can group them in a one entity, which is the class. And later, if I need this set of functions available any place in my code, I can go ahead and do it. It will be one of the reusability of the code, and this will decrease the complexity in this case. What's more features? So since OOP can let me organize my work, as I said, with a less complex way, so I can deal with more complex and large applications. Without this concept, whenever I have to use the same code in different files, as I have to go ahead and rewrite the code many times, not you having this. And then I can use also this object and the classes. Later we can see this that different files can talk with each other. When I said talk, which means that sending data to each other, using what we name this the object concept in this case. And this is what we said before when we go with a debate about what other people said about what good program or good code. Models real world entity well. So we as a human being, we see everything like objects and concepts, objects that come from concepts. When I give the example of the accident, I said 2 cars, which means that they are from the same concept, from the class, 2 objects. So in this case, when I have to write a program, so I'm using a real world now. My program is more oriented to what in real life I can see in many things taking place around me in this case, as a human being. So now, okay, we said what we mean by, so far we didn't said what, we said why important to have a OOP programming language based. So which programming language we use it? To be honest, when I start preparing this course, I said, okay, should I give it using C++ as I did in the structured programming, or C# or Python also as an OOP? Then no, we going to the history, this programming OOP programming style is supported by more than 100 programming languages in the market. But Java still is one of the modern best examples. Not perfect OOP programming language to say it, but Java comparing to others close to perfection, but not perfect. So if I compare it to which one it's better to use it for OOP, Java or C++? So Java is a pure object-oriented programming. So when they have to start with Java, they start it as an object-oriented programming. that everything is object except some primitive type there is not object. C++, if all of us know when we talk about C++, so it is an advanced version from the C language, which is a structured programming language. And then they have to put object-oriented features within. So C++ is a mixture between structured and object-oriented. And so since we are talking about object-oriented programming, we have to go to the pure object-oriented one, not the mixture one. This is why I use for you Java programming here in this course. We will, so, and it will be a good, if you didn't take before Java programming, so it will be a good opportunity to learn more programming language. Again, this is one of the main reasons why I choose Java for this course. We can do it using more than different languages, but this is why I use Java for this course, as I said. So let's start, because we said, okay, it has reusability, efficiency, all this, because it has a concept of a class and object. So what is class and object in this case? Before I go to this concept, I need to open discussion with you, people who was here, to help me in this. So anyone has an idea what do you mean by class, or what is a class definition here? Ayush, are you here? Go. Yeah. Ayush, are you here? Still, it seems. Go ahead, Kirsten.
Okay. Well, it's been a while since I've used classes, but from what I remember, they're like, it's like a set or a group of predefined functions, which are called methods.
Yes.
And also individual variables, or
yes.
like, I mean, in the definition, they're like general variables. But from this class of this group, you can create as many objects or basically copies of this class as you want. And each class has independent variables, values, characteristics. So
it has independent values for these variables, not new variables.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
It has independent values for the variables. That's what I meant.
Yes.
And so even though they're related by the type of variables that they use and the functions that they use, they are still distinct from each other.
Perfect. Yes, you give a very good definition. I'm quite sure you will be a good software engineer later.
Thank you.
Yes, as Kirsten, our colleague Kirsten said, so, but I want to add something concerning the definition of a class. So he said that set of functions or methods plus set of variables, but I will add, they are talking about the same concept. So we talk about cars. So the concept is cars. And then I will define different methods concerning car. And then different variables concerning car. So, and later, after I define this set of variables and methods or functions, that they are related to the same concept. So I can't have, they should agree all or talking about the same concept to be in the same class. So if they are talking about the same concept, they will form a class, this set of variables and methods. And later I can create an instance from this class. Like the example here I mentioned here. So a class, a template object is an object instance for a class. So when we inherit individual classes, they will take all properties and behavior from the classes. So you can see it here as a pattern. So this is a class here, class named car. So this car, I can define this. It has length, width, depth, whatever. It has color, but it can have different colors. But it has color. So this is, I define it here for this pattern, set of classes and function, and also I define different functions. So I will have a constructor later, which is, we name it as this constructor. It will be a constructor method in each class. This constructor will create different objects, which mean different instances from this. So if I defined here in this set of variables and function, like for example, I said there is a color here. So later, when I create each object, I will give different value for the color. So black, red. So changing the values of the attributes, I can have a new object. A new object. Playing with these variables can let me create different instances. How I can do this? Using a constructor one. So using this constructor variable, that constructor method, I can create different objects in this case, where I can have different values for these variables that we talked about it. So a class is a template for an object, or this template, when we talk about template, I mean that there is a set of variables and set of functions defining these template. And we are talking about special concept like here the car. So again, there will be a factory, which is a constructor in this class. Using this constructor, I can go ahead and make different instances of these objects. And each instance should have its own values. Again, its own values for different variables that I have already defined in my class definition or declaration. So every program in this case can be divided in different classes and objects. So, which means that later I will create object from these classes, but normally we define different classes. I said object instance or copy for this blueprint class. Classes contain data and function, which is variable, function, or procedures. So this concept of OOP will bind both data and functions into a single unit. This is what I am saying from the beginning. That set of variables and set of functions, they are now in the same unit. So my code will be, I have different classes, and each class has its own variables, its own functions. So the same concept what I said from the beginning, that throwing all my code like this, no, I will group them, will group my code in different classes. Each class has a set of variables and functions. And later, if I was in a class A, and there is something there's a function from a class B, I want to use it. Just I create an object in a class A, and I call the function of B in this case. So in this case, I can reuse my code without implementing it, re-implementing it many times in this case. And this is when we talked about here at the beginning, we talked about here, yes, here, and also we talked reusability. Oh, no, here, yes, here. Reusability. So if I have three classes in a class A, B, class C, so there is a function I have already declared in B and another function declared in C. So these functions, I can reuse them in A, as simple as. I don't have to re-implement my code. So I can reuse my code in different places based in this hierarchy that I have agreed that I group set of variables of data and function in a single unit. We name it a class. And then I can create different instances from this class. And each instance will have a values for this variable that we have declared in this class. So let's start how we can go ahead and do it in Java today. This is the second part from the lecture today. It will not be a very long lecture because it is an introductory one, so don't worry about the time today. So if I want to create a class, go ahead.
I was wondering that in the course outline was written that we're going to focus on HTML, or we're going to focus on Java in this course.
Sorry?
In the course outline, in the syllabus posted on Blackboard, it was written that we're going to focus on HTML.
No, it seems there's a mistake, so I have to update this.
Okay, so
there's a typo mistake.
Java?
Yeah, Java, yeah, sure. I will update this if there is an error on this. thank you to let me know, because sometimes I use the same template for all courses. It seems that there is a typo mistake. No, it's a Java one. So I will update this, and I will send email that there is an update for the syllabus. Thank you so much to let me know this. No, it will be Java. What HTML has to do with web programming.
Yeah,
It
I
seems
was
that there was a
how
typo
we
mistake.
with because other things like you were written were about like what are the things we're going to focus on, like inheritance and containers.
Yes,
All
yes,
that. So I
yes.
was wondering how we're going to do that in HTML, because I have had some experience in HTML. Anyways, thank you so much for that.
Good that you said this. It seems there is a typo mistake, so I have to update the file.
All right,
I will update it and send you an email all about it.
All right.
So, as I said, but go. Let's see your name. Gujrash.
Gurjas Raj.
Gurjas Raj.
You can just call me Gurjas. That would be fine.
No worry. So, is it the concept of object class? Is it clear for you, or you have a question about this?
No, it's clear.
Maybe I will ask you to redefine it again.
Sure. It is about basically which topic I would like me to tell.
What do we mean by object and classes?
Classes is basically all the collection of all the I mean, I'm not very good at explaining, but I actually understood it.
Go ahead. Use very simple word. What you have already. My question not for you, to see what others can understand from what we have already, what others can understand from what you have already shared so far. So go ahead, use simple word, and tell us what you can understand.
So what I understood was like classes is basically a group of is like it is I do not have much words to explain it. Like
Okay.
I'm not very good at explanation, but
I will help you. So let's start with the classes. So a class is set of what?
variables.
Only variables?
No.
Plus functions or methods.
Okay.
So it is set of classes and variables talking about the same concept, like the car or human being. So if I'll ask you to, is a human being, we can see it as a class, and what is the variables and functions that can be in this class? You got my question?
No.
I said, can we say human being can form a class? And if yes, what is the set of variables and methods for this class can be done or can be defined?
Yeah, I mean human beings can, yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
So what is? I will help you. So a human being, it can be a class. So I said, okay, a human being, this is a class. They have attribute. We are all as a human being. We have length, width, height, weight. Don't ask me about my weight. I am overweighted now. So, and it has also functions or methods. We laugh, we eat, laugh, eat, walk. They are all methods or functions a human being all do it. Maybe some human being cannot do it. They have a disability. But when we define a class, we define that general methods can be done. And later, there are some variables that has different values for this in this case. So me, you, and others who are here, they are objects from this class. You agree on this?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So let's return, and I will update the syllabus. Thank you for telling me, let me know this. So I will update the syllabus today and also apply a new version and correcting this type of mistake. So Java classes, if you want to create it using Java, and most of the programming should be the same. We just say public class, we give a name for this, and then we start declaring here. We can say, we have a class here, rename. Let me, by the way, about which kind of IDE or editor. Maybe before this we use Microsoft Visual Studio or other editor. I prefer to use it in Java in NetBeans. Again, it just what I recommend. It doesn't mean that you have to use it. Because Apache NetBeans with the either one, everything you need it is because let me show you this. So if I go here, Apache, I have it here. Here it is. So here, this is Apache NetBeans. If you can go ahead, so easy. Sorry, what happened? Cancel. So if I go here, file, new project, Java with Maven. Maven is an automation tool. They have it with the Apache one. It's free, no license needed. Installation, it's very easy. And also it can be work for Mac. There's Apache version NetBeans for Mac and for Windows. So it's an easy one. So just after you go here, I will go to Java application, Java with Maven, make Java application. Just you going to name whatever the name here. Let's say hello world. So, and then I said finish. It will create here one, this one. So normally if there's dependencies, we'll talk about it. So I'm using the JDK because there should be JDK. At the first time, when you create your first Java project, there's something to be installed. It will automatically install it. And if you go file a new project and you can see the Java here, so you can go to here, plugins, and to go to available plugins, I have already installed here the Java one. So if you don't have it, so you can go here and then install the plugin for this. So after this, you can start for the source package, adding whatever classes you needed. So we can say Java class, we say hello people, or let's say name it human being. Finish. So by default, you can put it here. So here it is. So this is our first class here, and then you can write whatever code you want to write, declare your variable, whatever here, and then you can run your code. You have to build it, and then you can run it again, and you can see here the result for your code in this case. So I recommend that all of us use NetBeans. Again, you can use whatever IDE you want. Me, I use it, so you don't have to use it. But I recommend it in case you ask me to which one I have to use it, because it's free, well updated, no license, everything you can need it. You can just make an add-ons and do it. And it can work with all different operating systems. Me, I use Windows and Linux. So on both of them, I can use it. So this is what I recommend. Again,
I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
So in order to use or download Apache NetBeans, you need JDK first, right?
No, you can download it, the Apache NetBeans, and later when you add the add-ons, which is Java Maven, and then when you create your first project, it will be automatically downloaded. You don't have to download it manually.
Oh, you don't? Oh, okay. And then
it will download it internally within NetBeans.
Okay, and then also to get
so
Java...
you don't have to do it manually. You do it within the NetBeans.
Okay, I should probably cancel this download then.
Okay.
And then also the add-ons are like inside the NetBeans. Okay.
Yeah. You can go here and do it. So plugins here. If it doesn't show here with you when you create a project, and if there is, for example, here you can see here when we talked about JDK, it's already here downloaded JDK 1.8. I didn't download it. After I download the NetBeans, after creating my first project, when I want to build it, so it download automatically the Java JDK by the NetBeans. This is why I said that working with NetBeans is very easy one for when you don't have to deal with Java.
Okay, thanks.
Let's return back here to the slide. So you can see my slide again, yeah?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. So we said to create our class, as we did so far, we create as much class as we needed. And then as I did now using the NetBeans, I create my first class. So we can give it a name. Normally, when we talk about class name declaration, we use uppercase, not lowercase, like here, public case main, M, capital M. We have to use this just to write your code will be well organized. Normally, we use uppercase for the class name, and you use lowercase for the object name. So here, how to create an object. So again, later we'll talk more advanced about the constructor. So after I will create a class like here, and then I will go to make the class that we are talking about, give a variable, so I can also make different methods. So I use a constructor. What is a constructor? It is a method that has the same name like the class. This is the default constructor. We can have different versions for the constructor. I will not talk about it today. Next lecture I'll talk about it. But you can have different, let's say, different versions of constructor. Now we have, what we say it, again, this is what we have is the default one, which is new main in this case. And if I want to print the variable x, so system.out.println, this is in Java like cout in C++. So just if I want to access any variable because whenever I create this object from this class, it will have the whole variable that is being declared in the class. So if in this class I declared x and y and z and omega, so in this case here we will have x, y, z, and omega. So when I said my object, in this case, as an object, will include a variable x and will have a value that's the default value here. So if there is no value here, that has no value here. And later I can change it. So I can access the value for this x for this object by .x. So as we said, whenever we create an instance, an object from a class, it will take or inherit all the variables that are being declared for this class. So we have here x, and it has a value 5, so it will take it. And later, if we will have object 1 and object 2, we'll talk about it later today. So object 1.x can have value 5, and object 1.x, object 2.x can start with 5 and later can change it. But if I change a value for this object 2, it will not change for the other object. Go ahead, Kirsten.
So the inside the class main, the public static void main.
Yes.
Is that a function that you're declaring?
This is by default. All Java projects should have a main method.
Okay.
And normally the main method should be in the main class. Why we have a main method? Because now if you have different classes, and then your compiler want to run your project. We are talking about project. A project can have different classes or different packages, and each package have different classes.
Yeah.
So what is the main class or the first class or the starter class he has to run it? Which one?
The main one.
It doesn't have to have the name main. Doesn't mean that it should be named main,
Okay.
but it should be in this case the class that has the main method.
Okay. Oh, I see.
So it is a must to be named like this main, but we can have any name for this. It doesn't mean that the main method should have the main class. The main class should be named main. However, at least one class should have a main method.
So this main method, or this method that you called main, acts
Yes.
in the same way that in C++, the main, like the main
Yes.
function, you know, like where you
Yes,
put your
yes,
stuff in,
yes,
it
yes,
acts the
yes,
same
yes,
way.
yes, yes,
Okay,
the same way.
okay, awesome.
Yeah, it's the same concept. Is that you should have a main, that I said in different programming language, you should have the main method, that this is the first method that your compiler is going to execute. And later
Okay.
you can go to different places in your program.
Awesome, thanks.
Thank you so much, Gerson, for the question, because this is maybe let somebody else who's going to watch this video to understand more. Because sometimes maybe I will miss a point to discuss it. So you have always to do this. Thank you so much. So what about multiple object? So if I have a method here, name it main, and I declare a variable x. So as I said, as my example, so I can create different object from the same class. And this is a concept of OOP, that which means that I can have different objects using different objects, and later I can send different value for these objects. So here I can say that I have a main object one, I have object one and object two. I use the default constructor. So new main, this is a constructor. Create object one, then another one to take object two. So I have two objects. And by default, both of them, they will have x and equal 5. So I can print x, and later also I can change it, by the way. So using also, I can also declare many classes also. I can do it. Doesn't mean that I have always one class. I'm saying this, even though maybe it's very obvious, but just since we are here at the first level, ABC level, I should say this. Here's an example. If you see Carson here, so the main method is in a secondary class, not in the main class. So, but at least we should have a main method in the project. So here we have two classes, the main one and the second one. If you can see all, you can see that I create an object from the main class in the secondary class. And also after this, I can use the value. This is very important. So now I access a value in the class main using class second one. This is the main reason for OOP, that reuse the code, transfer data between different classes. So an object from the main class hold and value in a variable x, this value equal 5. So I can send this value to another class by creating in the second class an object from the first class and access this variable, as we can see here. So this is very important about having different classes, because in our project later we will have different classes. We will not have only one class. So now, as so far we know that we can have different attributes also. As we can see here, we have x and y. Different types of attribute also. So how we can access these attribute? We can access these attribute. Next lecture, we talk about modifier and about the restriction of access. Now we're talking all, if you can see, all this public. Later, we will talk about modifier, which means having access control of the variables. Today, we'll not talk about it. Next time, we'll talk about it. So accessing the attribute, it's easy as I can see here. I can access the attribute by creating an object from the same type of the class where I declare the variable. So the variable was declared in class main. So in order to access this variable, we are not talking about a static variable. We are talking about a normal variable, because static variable is something else. We'll talk about it later. So we are talking about normal variable. How I can access this variable? I have to create an object from the same type where this variable is being declared. And then I can go ahead and access, or said object.x, to access this variable in this case. Now, how I can modify these attributes? First, I have to access this attribute to modify it, like here. So this integer x, I didn't give a value when I created in the class. Later, when I create this object, I said, okay, dot x equal 40, which means now the x value, I modified it. But again, in this case, the x related to my object will be updated. However, if I create my object 2, when I go to make system.out.println my object 2.x, I will not have 40 because I just update the x that related to this object. And this is one of the PowerPoint of object-oriented, which means that this is a concept that I can have different value for the same variables based on which object they are assigned. So this variable x that's being declared in this class, if it's assigned to this object, it has a value. And if then one use it with another object, have another value based on the object level. So I can override also existing one. Again, so it is 10. By default, at that line, when I create the object, at that line, this object has a variable x, and the value for this variable is 10. We can see this. We said my object.x here equal 25. If I go ahead and print it out here, it will print 25, not 10. So I can override this because this value is assigned to this object in this case. So this is, we have already talked about it before, about having a multiple object. And you can see here, I created 2 objects, here, and then whatever, and then if I go ahead, just as by there here, it should not be here, comment here. So, and later, then we will have a different value based in what we have already assigned for this object in this case. Here, I just to give this is a typo mistake here. I have to get rid about it here. Some places. So today, this is all what I want to share with you. But just before we leave, I will have these exercises to be aware that all of us can understand. We are aware about the general concept of OOP, about this introduction, what we said. So, okay. So if I want to create an object of my class called my object, so what I have to fill in the blanks here. So I want to create an object, then my object. So what is missed here?
I would say for the first box,
Yes.
it would be my class in the first box, and then in the second box it would be my object.
Yes.
And then the third box it would be new my class.
Perfect. What about if I want to print out the value of x and get 5 here? What I have to put here in this box?
My object.x.
Perfect. Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries.
So now if call my method. So there is my method. We have already here declared this my method make a system.out hello world. So if this method hello world, so I want to call it this here I declare it. So how I can call a method in the main method, this method, how I can call it? A method is being declared within my class. So if I want to call, we all know what we mean by call a method. So how I can call it here if this method is being declared within a class? Anyone to help? Kura, how are you, Kura, today? You are late here with us today. Are you here? Yeah. Cora, can you hear us? It seems you are not here.
I was a little confused on it at the start, but I think I have it. At least
Yeah.
maybe a little bit of it. It would be
Go ahead, Kirsten. Go ahead. I'm not sure. Cora, do you want to say something? I will mute Cora in this case. Go ahead, Kirsten.
I'm a little confused because I don't see at least that you didn't create an instance of the class. So how would you call
a method? So we said if you want to access this method, we'll talk more about it later. But based on the concept that we talked about it so far, that if you want to access an attribute, you want to access using an object.
I mean, in that case, it would be myClass.myMethod, right?
Yeah, so in this case, yeah, no. It's the same concept. We have to create an object from this class, and using this object, we can call a method.
Okay, sorry, I was a little confused there because I didn't see.
Yeah, this is the aim from this exercise, that attributes and the classes, we declare them in a class, but however, if you want to access these attributes or call this method, it should be done using an object from the same class.
Okay, yeah.
As we did here. The last exercise for today will be here. So again, so we want to create now and I call a class construct of my class. So I will leave here different commands. So first, if I want to create my class, so what I have to do, put here.
My class or class my class.
My class, so perfect. So if I want to create an attribute X for this class, what I have to put here?
Integer X.
Yes. What about here now? If I want, do I have, for example, now this is another class. So suppose that, okay, if I want to have initial value, this is what we have to talk about it later in the constructor. So we said the constructor is a method that has the same name like the class, yeah?
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later more. Just an example now to be familiar with the concept. So my class, this is a method, here is a constructor. We can create different versions from constructor. Like here, I create a version from constructor. As I said, okay, whenever I create a method, whenever I create an object, type my class, go ahead and assign X as a 5. Because in the constructor method, I will make an initial value of X equal 5, even though I didn't do it here. This is very important that you understand this. Later in constructor, we'll talk more advanced about constructors, but this is the exercise here to let you learn and know that using constructor, you can create any initial value for any variable. So here, if I create a class, my object, create create object from type my class. So if I want later to print the value here, so the value here will be printed 5, because I said in the constructor, whenever you create an object, create it with a value X equal 5.
Okay, so whenever you create an object from a class, the constructor will always, the method constructor will always run, right?
Yeah, because you see how we create an object using what?
The new my class.
What is new my class? This is a constructor.
Okay.
So I need a constructor to create an object. Then I can define within this constructor what I will want to do by default when I create an object.
Okay.
And I later will talk more about it. We can have different versions for this, which means we can have my class having this attribute, another method, third, fourth, 5 methods. We can have different constructor, not only one constructor. So far, we have only one constructor, the default one. And we said that the default one can have always initial x equal 5. So here, whenever we create an object using this constructor, x for any object will be always 5 in this case. So here will be an output here 5 in this case. Is it clear, Kerson?
Yeah, I'm just thinking. So I'm trying to formulate a question right now.
Go ahead. I will be happy to hear your question.
I'm just a little confused. So when you're creating an object, my object, and you said it was equal to new my class, when you're saying new my class, you're not from what I understand.
Yeah, for you, this is a word in you. It is not like one normal method we use it. Normally, when we call a method, we don't use a new. Is it?
Yeah.
So this is in Java and most of OOP. Only for the constructor method, it will be there will be before calling it this word new.
Okay.
So a constructor method, we don't, because normally we said in OP, when you are going to call a method, you need an object. Is it correct?
Yeah, that's what I was confused about.
Yeah, but this cannot be done for constructor because constructor, we will use it to create your first object.
Okay, so the constructor is like an exception of that method condition.
It is an exceptional method. And when you want to call it, you have just to use new before it. And for sure, it is not related to an object because it is you use it to create object.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, but you can override the code of the constructor, the default one, that you can add any code here. You want to run this code whenever you create a new object, like here.
Okay.
Guys, we are done for today. Today it was very brief introduction about what we mean by OOP, what we expect in this course. We start with the concept of classes and objects and attributes. We will continue this. A lot of many things to do it. Starting next time, I will be happy to have some classwork with you here. So, like always, I will record it, upload it, and share it with you. So, if you have any question, go ahead and ask me. If not, I need 3 thumbs up to leave, or I will stay here. So, Kirsten, give me 1 thumbs up. What? Go ahead.
I wanted to know about how we are supposed to like submit our assignments and like what will be I mean in Com
Yeah, the assignment, I will publish the assignment in the Blackboard.
Okay.
And I will send an email about it when I publish it, and I will do my best to give you 1 week till you deliver your assignment. And the assignment delivery will be also using Blackboard.
Okay, so it will be like we have to present it to you, or like
no present it. Most probably you will upload the solution for a coding assignment I will ask you for.
Okay.
The project will have a presentation.
Okay, so I mean you will give us some code to write and we have to just publish that code.
Yes, again, this is a synchronous course. It is not a class. It is not like other courses. So I can't ask students to be here and present their assignments, because the mode of teaching of this course is OLO and UFV, which mean asynchronous online courses. You got it?
Yeah, okay.
So do you want to leave or stay with us here?
Sorry?
Do you want to leave or stay with us here?
No, that was my only question.
You didn't get my point. I said, do you want to leave today, or you stay with us till late night today?
No, I will leave now.
So you have to give us thumbs up to leave, or you'll stay here.
Thumbs up?
Yeah, to give thumbs up using as Kirsten did. Okay, you can say thumbs up. I will accept this.
Okay, wait. Let me check how to do that. Actually, I'm new to Microsoft. I don't know much.
Okay. Go ahead, guys. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you.
See you next week. Yeah, take care. Bye-bye.